Hey guys, this is Jeremiah. I sat the podcast out this week. I'm actually in the process of moving, so this thing I'm recording right now is the last thing I'm going to do before my computer goes into a box and goes into the car where I watch it drive away and feel sad. But Dave and James stepped in and did an awesome job hosting the podcast this week. Unfortunately, there was a video issue with YouTube, and there are a lot of dropped frames on YouTube's end. We're not exactly sure why, but it wasn't anything that Dave or James did wrong. It just bad luck had happened to them. And because of that, you're going to notice that the audio and the video are not synced most of the time. If you're listening to this on the audio only version, of course, none of this will matter to you. But if you're watching this on video, we're sorry. On a technical level, this podcast is going to be a little bit rough, but the audio is still good. And Dave and James did an awesome job. So here you go.
What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans podcast, the irreverent love of gaming. I'm your host for tonight, James. Also joined by the other host that was available tonight, Dave.
The reliable one.
So we are running as we're running two, and I hear myself in the background.
Oh, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I was helping Jeff make a tweak to his Arma mods last night, like right before a mission, of course. And I logged into his team viewer to help him with something, and I could hear his Teamspeak and my Teamspeak with like 12 people in it all talking at the same time. And like I hear my name like 6 times at once. I'm just like, my mind is melting right now. I can't help anyone. So I'm like just right clicking, mute team viewer, mute team viewer. As quickly as
everybody just shut up.
It was awful.
But on that note, welcome to the podcast. One of our announcements tonight is Jeremiah is moving this weekend, so we are giving him time to just get everything done that he needs to get done. And Joel is, I haven't checked PSN, but he's working on Norman.
Which means either Witcher or Assassin's Creed.
We'll go with that. Couple of other announcements we have this week. If you did the podcast, the Lootcast, and you won something, why the hell have you not written in to get your free games?
Guys, I'm disappointed, honestly. Like, I'm just really crushed and disappointed in you guys as people for your failure to accept your free games. Come on.
It's like those people that forget it's payday. Like, seriously? I don't forget the seconds leading up to payday. How do you forget you have a free game? Come on, guys. We're giving you gold. We're also counting down the hours because Shane, also known as Freakin' Shane for the Rocket League players, Ultra Grunt Boy, thank you, Weird Stranger.
Oh my.
And Casual Shenanigans Historian is on his way to the US. He is going to be here tomorrow.
Yes.
And we are going to have lots of fun when we all hang out. It's going to be an amazing time. I'm actually going to go see Muse with him while he's here. So I'm excited. He's like my brother from another country or something.
You know, so. I'm just imagining all of the pizza chains around the airport in like 100-mile radius are just like, I feel something, a presence I've not felt since July.
Well, this is like the pizza's Black Friday. This is where they get their books to black. Shane comes in, they're like, oh, we're going to make our yearly profits today.
Honestly, I've never seen a man love pizza like Shane loves pizza. It's incredible. Well, I don't think it's not beautiful. It's concerning, maybe. I won't call it beautiful.
Well, when you live in a third world country that doesn't serve good pizza, you know, I see where he gets it.
It's because the missing ingredient in good pizza, James, is freedom. Like that's a secret
freedom
ingredient.
Water.
Oh.
I don't know if I like how that sounds. So tonight we're gonna have a pretty light topic. It's gonna be mostly news heavy, but there was one particular news story that stood out that we've talked about a little bit in the past, and it's come up again today, and figured we would stick our noses up at it or sing its praises.
This just came out today, didn't it? I think it was just today.
Actually, it came out that it was going to release on time, and then right after it came out that it was going to be episodic. So We are talking about Hitman,
Yes, indeed.
which, if you remember the history from last fall, they said they were going to release parts of it to pre-orders, like basically not pre-orders, but people who paid for it in advance.
Yeah.
And then they would give it out to other people to buy the full game later on. But
They've
now
changed
they're
their plan for this, like, it feels like 100 times in the last 6 months. It really feels like it's worn out. It's welcome. All these changes.
Well, I feel like they're just, which way's the wind going? Do they like this idea? No? Okay, we'll do this instead.
Wait, hold on, James. You know, we forgot something here. What are we heading into right now? Is it news time? Am I doing it?
It's main topic time still.
But it's news related.
It's news. Yeah, it's news main topic time.
Kind of news time. So what was today's news? Like, they've changed their minds again, kind of.
So Hitman, which in the past has been obviously a complete game where it's very linear in the past, has now moved towards an episodic model where you get what do they call it? A standard pack? Something just popped up on my screen. The Hitman intro pack, which is it's all sandbox, and you get limited locations. And as new content comes out, you can buy new locations as your episodes, or you can wait until later this year to buy the $60 disc version. But you're paying, $35 for when it comes out, and then you're paying additional $10 for each episode.
Right.
So how do we feel about that, Dave? How do we feel? How do you feel?
Did you play the last Hitman? I think it was Absolution, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I thought it was okay.
Did you beat it by any chance?
No.
I actually beat it. I enjoyed it, and it was a relatively long game, wasn't it? I mean, I think it took me like 23-ish hours. It wasn't a short game, for sure. I mean, I play games kind of slow. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah.
I think though, this could actually work for Hitman, and I'm glad actually that they've today just decided to say, forget it, screw it. It's an episodic game. Like, it's going to be in chunks, because it sounds like the game is going to be hub based, where you've got like a home base, and then you like accept missions, kind of like in Payday almost, like to different regions of the world. And that sounds like the perfect game to do in episodes. But they've kind of muddied the waters here with all this back and forth for months as well. I was really surprised looking at the PC Gamer article about the announcement, because there was just a lot of anger, and it is the internet, and people have to be upset about something at all times.
I know I am.
Even if you have to go looking for something, there's always something to be angry about on the internet. It's not like they're pulling an EA with Battlefront and really kind of overcharging for the base game and then adding a premium edition and all this stuff. At the end of the day, it's still going to be $60 once it's all there. It's just that you're going to get it in bite-sized chunks. And for a game like this, as long as the story isn't, like super gripping and full of cliffhangers, it could be really fun where like you play 3 or 4 hours in Africa and then 3 or 4 hours in Eastern Europe, and you kind of like move around, and you have like a new little chunk to look forward to. I think it could work.
I mean, I could see that. The thing I worry about is it becoming like Metal Gear, where it loses what made Metal Gear good. It did feel like, I mean, not that the Hitman stories are ever that great, but they had a story. And I feel like this is going to be something that's going to be stripped from this game, and it's going to be, here's a new location to explore. Here's a new location to explore. It's not going to ever feel like you're moving to the next part of the game, and it's not really going to have a satisfying finish, I fear.
That could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, with a game like that, there's only so much you can do with the story anyway.
Yeah.
So why not try something different? And I could see that working for something like Assassin's Creed, although they do have stories built into them.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I don't think Absolution would have really worked in episodes, because that did have a pretty pretty solid story. Like, it wasn't anything mind blowing, but it was well connected, and you kind of had like your set goals throughout the whole thing once it got started. It's really going to have to be like hub based, where they've got to give you incentive with each chunk to go back out and keep going.
I feel like it's going to end up being like a Just Cause style game where you're just doing like little isolated missions and then you're done. And you do another isolated mission and you're done. And then you do stuff in between. It's not going to... I like the idea of the hub in some games. This could work. I mean, if you're just... I don't know much about the story, honestly. But it could work if you're just playing the role as an assassin, taking jobs and stuff. But I do want to separate the games that I love that are really good at doing open world, like GTA.
Yeah.
From games that are, I don't want games like Deus Ex becoming an episodic game. Or, I'm afraid that that's going to become a precedent of games that could technically work as an open world sandbox, unlock new content later on type thing. But you look at the Telltale games, and they do a good job of keeping the story there while still doing it in episodes. But they are legitimately episodes. This doesn't feel as episodic as it does unlock new areas,
a new region. Yeah. Right. And for the Walking Dead games, I loved those, but I bought them in season chunks. Like, I never actually had to wait for them. And I'm glad that I did it Netflix style, if you will, because those games had some serious cliffhangers between episodes. And if there's an overarching main story arc that is really connected in the new Hitman, that could kind of suck if you were, maybe even pre-ordered already. I don't know if you can, and you were expecting to just dive right in, and now
they canceled all the pre-orders.
Oh, did they? I hadn't heard that. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Well, that's probably a good thing, because if I were a customer who was expecting to dive in and have 24 hours, 25 hours, whatever of story, and now it's like, oh, well, you're going to get 8 hours of story, and then you got a waiting period, I'd be upset. But okay, cancel the orders, sure.
I can't imagine, like, if they did that with something like Skyrim. The biggest problem I have with Skyrim is if there was any amount of time in between plays, I would completely forget where I was at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you would spend an hour and a half just like basically reliving the world, figuring out where I'm at, what story I was in the middle of. Like,
what your character was, like, what race am I? Who am I?
Speaking of which, do you remember Fallout 4? Do you remember the game? There's a game attached to it, right?
I actually don't want to hear it, James, because I've been playing the main story today. And actually, the last couple of days, I've only done, like a handful of hours of crafting, and then a lot of main story, because, all right, well, I guess let's just be honest here. I heard that as you progress further in the story, an area of the map that you can visit early in the game can later become one of your settlements as you progress further in the story. So that's why I'm progressing for anyway. Actually, speaking of Fallout 4, I'm looking forward to the season pass for Fallout 4 just to see what kind of stuff they add, because for New Vegas and all, you had a complete new area and new story stuff, but I couldn't see games like Witcher or Fallout working in episodes, because I think they need a longer arc to kind of connect back and to ground you, because those worlds are so immersive. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about previous games that have tried this method, and kind of the elephant in the room is Half-Life, and what happened with Half-Life 3,
or even episode 3.
I guess, man, even I still want to call it Half-Life 3, even though it was originally supposed
we didn't even
to
get to episode 3 of Half-Life 2.
It's coming, James. It's coming.
It's coming.
I don't think there's a danger of that really happening with Hitman. It's a much smaller scope of a game. But why do you think that failed so thoroughly for a game like Half-Life? Even if it could work for Hitman.
Well, I mean, if a studio wanted it to work, it could work, I think. Half-Life 2 could have worked if Valve wanted it to work. I think that this is just my personal opinion, but I think they started making money on things that didn't involve them creating content, but creating avenues. And that, I mean, it became a money printing machine for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's hard from a business sense to say, we're making a lot of money here, but let's not put our resources here. Let's put our resources in meeting the desires of our fans.
Yeah. It's probably hard to say, let's stop printing money and just let's focus on art.
Right. There are studios that do that. And I applaud those. I really, you generally love those games. The ones where the designers and the developers and everybody involved is just in love with their game to the point where they're making it as not just a love letter to their fans, but as a, kind of a intrinsic reward to make. I don't see that Valve is there, which is fine.
And
but with something like that, it did leave cliffhangers. It left the story wide open.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating as a gamer. Not that again, the gamers can get entitled. But we're not owed stories. We're not owed completions of games like that. But you really should have completed the game.
It's just something, honestly. And I don't want to say that for Valve, I don't think it was just money for them. I'm sure that was part of it. Like, hey guys, we need to shift some resources, and this whole Steam thing is kind of taking off. But I think Valve was at least half a victim to like their own standards. And I've got this feeling that whenever all of the behind the scenes comes out one of these days, whether it releases or never does, we're going to learn what kind of everyone assumes is that the episode system didn't work for episode 3 and Half-Life because the scope changed too much. Valve being Valve, they just wanted to do too much, and it just was not going to work in the episode format. I just find it interesting though, because don't you feel like, James, that there was just a ton of just talk about Valve leading this charge of games in like an episode format back then?
Well, they've always been the innovator. Like they've been an innovator with graphics. They've been an innovator with like the physics. In Half-Life 2,
facial animation,
ridiculous.
Everything. Yeah.
I mean, they got so much right. I think it's scary now to jump in when you have that on your shoulders. When games like BioShock come out and take it to the next level, take up that mantle, and it's like we could release a new Half-Life, but what's going to be different about it that BioShock isn't doing now. But with that said, finishing that third episode I don't think the standard would have to have been that high. If they had stayed at the same graphics, just gave us a good story, a good finish to that arc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They could have bought more time into 3. But I think probably what happened was they were probably co-developing episode 3 and 3 at the same time, Half-Life 3. And when Half-Life 3 wasn't meeting their innovative standards, I think it probably killed them working on episode 3.
Yeah.
Then they talked about moving to more multiplayer focused games and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think after episode 3, and by the way, you reminded me, James, that we've had the entire BioShock series has come out since episode 2. Like BioShock released in 2007. That's when episode 2 came out, right? Early 2007, or was that 2000?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, and then the closing of that studio has all happened since episode 2. That's mind blowing to think about. Like BioShock began, continued, and finished, and the studio's almost gone for now at least. But
I mean, we've gotten like 15 Assassin's Creed games.
Well, let's not talk about Assassin's Creed. I don't think that after the just what happened with episode 3, we're going to see any large single player games that are going to embrace the episode format. I don't think we're ever going to see that, but I think it could work for Hitman. Just because of the whole contract system, the idea that you could have missions that are kind of independent of each other. I think it could work, but I don't think
if they change the scope of the game from the other games, it will work.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have the story driven focus like you did in the past, it would feel more like DLC coming out later.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about moving forward. If I want a bunch of games doing that, it makes sense for them because they're getting more money up front, and they're able to. I mean, not that the bigger companies need the money to keep going, but they do have their proof of concept to keep pushing forward. The problem is when you do a pre-order and, like some of these studios that go out of business, you pay for that upfront and then you pay for the full price, pay for the whole $60 and they give you the first thing and then sales aren't as good as they want and they bail.
Yeah.
Not that's going to happen a lot, but how many times would it have to happen for a crappy business model?
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing aside, from a resale standpoint is, I mean, digital is killing the resale, like used game business, which is fine because, from a company standpoint, they're not getting as much revenue when people are selling their used discs.
For sure.
I mean, it's just that way with anything.
Yeah.
But you're also less likely to see sales prices. You're less likely to find any kind of deal on the game since it's coming out in chunks. You're paying the full price here. And the next piece comes out, you pay full price, as opposed to here's our product, and in a month it's going to drop $10, or 2 months it's going to drop $20, and so you're stuck paying full price for games now. Which some games I don't mind. That's not one that I don't know if I'll pay full price for. As Joel called it, you get to try the game out and see if you like it, aka renting the game.
I'm actually excited about that introduction price point because I was not going to be playing this for probably like a year or two after it came out, just like Absolution. It's just not, on my radar. I'm have far too much to play right now, but for $10, $15, that is kind of a neat way to see if you like it. And I would bet, James, that the companies come out ahead either way for that. Either people try it and don't like it, so you have less people complaining about your game if they only spent the $10 or $15 on it. And then I bet you have a lot of people like me who were not going to buy it until it was, $15 for the whole thing, who are going to try it. And even if that's all that they buy, you've got extra sales from people just wanting to try it. I bet that they're going to come out ahead.
Yeah, we'll see.
We shall see.
Any games that you would just hate your life if they came out episodic?
Fallout and Witcher. Both of those would annoy me to death. I'm so glad that the Witcher DLC is in like 15 and 25 hour chunks, because you just dive in and enjoy it. But if it was like you get a pack of 2 side quests for like $4.99, no, that's awful.
That could be a model in the future.
Yeah.
Pay to play, like unlock quests with like just little random purchases as you're playing.
As much as I would hate that, I would absolutely do it and love it for Witcher. What would kill me though is if you were exploring and you would like run into things in the world and the like the money gates would pop up like just in game, like you meet someone who's like, help, the elves are attacking the village, like we don't know why they're doing this, and it like pauses the game and it's like
$4.99 to help them.
Oh dude, that would destroy me. I would be so crushed. My immersion would be shattered. I'd be bitter. Oh, that is my nightmare.
So do you think it's going to catch on? Telltale's done a good job with it. It works well with Life is Strange. Do you think it's going to catch on?
Oh yeah, I meant to mention Life is Strange. I haven't played that, but that's been, hugely successful. I think we're going to see an uptick, and I hope that the developers remain smart about it and do things like hub-based games like Hitman, and don't try to take a strong single-player narrative and chop it up just to chop it up, but they embrace it for games where the game concept can really make use of it in a good way,
right? And
they're not just chopping it up to chop it up.
Yeah, I think it could have worked on a game like. Did you ever play Alan Wake?
Yes, I enjoyed that.
It was episodic in the way it was built, and so
like a TV show. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So I think it could work actually episodic, as in release it, play it, cliffhanger. I mean, I wouldn't appreciate it. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
it would be. I think it would be the one game where it was more story focused and still be episodic and work because it was an open world but linear.
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, it was region based, wasn't it? Like you kind of went from region to region. So yeah, that could have worked. That definitely would have bothered me though, because I liked the overarching story. I wanted to get to the end of the mystery, like reading like an old Hardy Boys novel or something. Like I just wanted to get to the end and see what the mystery was.
And the weird thing though is it's almost going opposite of where culture's going, where we've become a much more binge culture when it comes to our media consumption.
Yeah,
especially with Netflix is, when they put out a series. You got the whole series at one time. Some people can watch it once a day or once a week if they want to, but most people sit and watch like 3-4 hour chunks immediately and finish it within a week. And that's good for them. It to me, it's counterculture. If it works for them, great, but I don't think you're going to get a bunch of people that are willing to put the game aside and wait for the next thing to come out. I mean, it's worked for Telltale, but
they're special.
There are people like me and you. There are people like me and you that will wait to play the whole game at one time.
Yep.
So, all right. We are going to move on to our multiple news items.
So this is the actual
What is
news
this?
time?
What is this? What is this, Dave?
News time.
Take it away, Dave.
All right. First up, a little bit late here, but I guess better late than never. EA has announced that EA Access, which is now called Origin Access on PC, is coming to PC. That's where you can pay a monthly fee to play a bunch of EA games, unlimited, basically, as long as you're subscribed. And it's $5 a month standard. It's $4.50 right now. So if you're really like just torn about that 50 cents,
you're a good deal finder. That 50 cents.
Yeah, like now's your time. Don't wait. I was looking at it though. It's a solid list of games. Don't get me wrong. You've got Battlefields 3 through Hardline. You got the entire Dragon Age series. That's a lot of content right there. Like that's like months of subscribing. Just plan that out. You got SimCity, that's worth subscribing to. That was a fun game, if flawed. Sims, FIFA, Plants vs Zombies, Need for Speed Rivals. Rivals is pretty old. The entire Dead Space series. If you don't have all the Dead Space games from the Humble Bundles yet, then you have failed. Yeah, you failed at life.
You're not a gamer.
And then randomly, this War of Mine, which I did not know was an EA game. Maybe they just published it. Yeah, but you also get 10% off of all Origin purchases, which that could come in handy because they have some pretty good sales sometimes. And if that stacks, that's a nice little bonus. But no Battlefront, which is what I was looking for.
Well, I mean, I've got it on Xbox One, and they just released Hardline, I think, a month ago or so.
Oh wow! So it's pretty far behind then.
Yeah, it's not new games. It's games like I've got. I think the Madden 16, and I think they're on no. Yeah, they're on 17 already. Anyway,
you're asking the wrong person if you're asking about Madden.
You love Madden. Come on,
dude. I'm all about sports games. Have you seen me play Rocket League, the game with the
esports,
sports ball and the hockey puck and the cars?
So, I mean, their sports games are a year behind. Personally, I don't care because I don't care about the rosters. If you added new features, I won't notice as long as it's playable. The few sports games that I might try, but otherwise, it's been a good deal. I mean, you get a few battle. I got it for a deal. I got it for $30 for the year.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do that for the PC also, where you pay a year flat. I think it was originally $5 a month.
Yeah. I mean, even with the games that they have, if you wanted to try any of those, like that's a great entry price. $5 for an entire month to try out all of that stuff. That's, even with the smaller catalog, that's a pretty good deal still.
I was going to hold out buying Battlefield 4 when I bought it, thinking, what if they did it on EA Access for the PC? Like, they haven't really announced it yet. It's been 2 weeks later. Here it is.
The only problem is we play it so rarely right now. You have to like rent it like every month to play the couple times that we play a month.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got a little bit of doom and gloom on the horizon. In theory, PC sales, I guess that would be the last quarter of 2015. Yeah, last 3 months. have fallen sharply. That's a record drop in PC sales. Now, this is just pre-built PC sales. So, Dell, Lenovo, Apple's actually included in that, but they actually grew 5% because Apple. I wanted to talk about this just briefly because I did some looking about some previous, PC sales slumps. And basically, around the time of a new Windows operating system, like right before launch, during launch, and in the first-ish quarter after launch, there's always a huge slump. It's almost like everyone's like waiting to see what's going to happen. I thought it was funny when Windows 8 came out, that slump continued for like several more quarters. Like no one was buying Windows 8 anything. It was a bigger slump than Windows Vista was the Windows 8 PC sales slump.
Well, I mean, XP and Windows 7 were both, I think, the pinnacle of Windows systems.
They're so solid.
I mean, I'm enjoying 10. But yeah, it's hard to go from something is working really well, like 7 to 8. Now going from 8 to 10. I mean, I'm not going to say 8 really worked that well.
Yeah.
But it matured to a point to where you're not having as many issues.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I'm always the early adopter. So
yeah.
I mean, it could probably screw up everything on my computer, but hey, I'm gonna do it the minute it's on the server. Let me have it.
I waited 6 months to go to 10, and it's been absolutely seamless so far. It was nice.
It was probably good though that you waited, get past some of the issues, especially you were running SLI at the time.
Oh yeah, that would have been rough.
I mean, that was enough of an issue. And then, NVIDIA's still having driver issues. So add that on top of anything else, it just would have been a nightmare. So you picked a better time to hop in, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that sales are going down. I mean,
PC Gamer pointed out
Apple sales going up that much.
People who buy Apple computers don't really track the hardware. So PC Gamer pointed out there's been no major hardware launches, last fall whatsoever. Like no new graphics cards from AMD, nothing new from Nvidia, nothing new from Intel. It's just very, very quiet. Plus, that's the first quarters after Windows 10 launches. Everything's just kind of at a standstill. Interestingly, though, PC retailer Origin PCs, they do a lot of higher end builds. They don't release exact numbers, but their CEO revealed that the company enjoyed, I'm going to quote here, double-digit growth in that same quarter. So maybe it's just the general Best Buy, your $300 laptop market. Everyone is just kind of sitting on them right now.
Right.
Now that I think about it, James, I wonder how much the free upgrade to Windows 10 is affecting sales. If you bought a Windows 8 laptop in like the last year and a half and you have Windows 10, you're good to go.
Yeah, you feel like you got a new computer.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a new experience, and that's
I bet that's
usually enough for most people.
That free upgrade, now that I think about it, I bet that's a big part of why the PC sales, the Windows sales are not going anywhere right now.
Possibly.
I
mean, that's kind of a backfire for them, I guess. I mean, not that Microsoft isn't the hardware business, but, well, they actually are in the hardware business, even for PCs now. But, for them, if they're not pushing new hardware, that's going to hurt their relationships with the other companies.
yeah.
Oops, guys. And it's funny that most people that upgrade to new computers either don't need to upgrade because there's other stuff wrong with their computer that they really need to do to get it to go faster.
Right.
And they're going to upgrade to something that's not an actual upgrade. It's kind of like, here's the next low end model that you're going to move up to that you're going to be fussing about in 6 months. So,
yep.
Moving into a new system, when they do it, it does all the the optimization and stuff. It probably feels like a new experience for a lot of these people. So,
next up, we got some stuff from Zeus at CES this year, and this actually caught my eye because when I bought my monstrosity of a gaming laptop in 2007, it was advertised as having modular graphics cards. They're like, the graphics card, it's super like wafer thin. It's built just for a laptop. Sure, it's a mobile graphics card, but we put it in a position in the case where, in theory, you can pop it out and pop a new one in almost like you would, on a desktop. Like there's no soldering, there's no thermal paste, there's no crazy amounts of screws. It's kind of plug and play. And this is going to surprise you, James. The company that I bought my laptop from, it never released any more graphics cards for that laptop. Surprise, surprise. There's never any upgrades available. I mean, this was touted so much. But Asus has joined Razer in announcing a USB Type-C docking station for their laptops, certain laptops, that allows you to use an external desktop graphics card, which is, I guess, the next generation of, guys, your laptop is totally going to be a gaming station with a modular graphics card on the go. It's totally going to happen. They've kind of just embraced it with the external enclosure now.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if the processor's decent in your laptop and the only thing that's holding you back is your graphics card, I mean,
yeah,
you can use your laptop on the go and not game.
Yeah.
I mean, most people aren't going to game on the go, but if you only have money to pick one or the other, that could technically work. You come home, you dock it, and now you have a full-fledged desktop where you've got your better monitor setup and, keyboard and mouse for gaming.
That's exactly what they're showing on the display right there, James. The nice gaming monitor, the nice keyboard and mouse, just set up for.
I mean, it works in theory.
Yeah.
What kind of bandwidth?
It's got pretty insane bandwidth, apparently.
It has to. That's crazy.
Oh,
could you imagine?
I actually have a speed right here for you, James. The XG2, which is Asus's solution, not Razer's. It uses Thunderbolt 3 at 40 gigs a second, but it also uses raw PCI Express signal over the cable too.
Wow.
So this is actually from Maximum PC. They're planning on actually benchmarking the two external graphics card solutions and like seeing which one has the faster connector, if that might make a difference. That's pretty impressive.
All that theoretical speed.
I know, right? Maybe we'll actually max it out this time. Now that you have a gigantic graphics card trying to crank through it. Looks wise, I was kind of looking at it here. I like how they have that kind of like a display window in the external case for it, but I don't like the weird shape that it's in. Like it's got all those kind of weird PC case angles going on with it. I was like,
it looks like a gaming PC. Come on.
And it's got the LEDs inside, which, okay, if it was just a nice slick looking box with like a single LED and like a nice window, I think I'd be more in favor for it. But it's also got like all those stencil cutouts and crazy, lines and stuff in the cutout of the front of it. It's a little too low end PC case looking for my taste. Yeah. But
do you think we're going to see modular PCs more in the future? Whereas you have your laptop for, say in a work environment.
Yeah.
You have your laptop for, meetings and stuff like that. And you come back and connect and it's got a case that has RAM and maybe an updated, a better graphics card, for stuff that you would do. Expanding a lot more than just the graphics card, but being able to add, whereas a laptop, you might have 8 gigs of RAM on the go. Come in and then you have, 24 gigs of RAM or whatever.
Come home and start the render that you were working on out on the road.
Yeah.
It could work. I mean, Razer promised a lot with that whole modular system. Was that 2014 or that was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then, that all got canceled. So we'll see.
I think it just takes one company to do it right to make it work. If nobody does it right, then it just will never happen. But it has potential, but we'll see.
And seeing you now have two companies both embracing USB Type-C as like the whole, framework for this idea, maybe we will actually get a good solution out of it.
And which one uses Thunderbolt? Thunderbolt over USB? That's weird.
Yeah, that's the Asus one, I believe. It's interesting.
Anyway.
So next up, we got some stills, which obviously you guys listening to the podcast cannot see from the new Assassin's Creed film. And I'd heard rumors of these stills, but the only one that I had seen was the Photoshop job where someone had replaced it's an image of two of the main characters from the movie, like looking over a wall, and someone had photoshopped the Unity graphics glitch where like just their eyeballs were floating in place like onto the movie still. It was perfect. But I finally saw the actual images. And although video game movies don't have a great reputation at all, these shots do look pretty good. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan as far as the games go. I can kind of appreciate them before they went into the yearly cycle. I enjoyed the first one. But these screenshots look pretty good. I mean, the sets are pretty involved. And it looks like they're doing both the kind of like modern stuff and then also the flashbacks too. So it's kind of following along exactly as the games do. It's
got to be better than Prince of Persia. Did you see that movie?
No, and actually I had forgotten it existed until you reminded me. Thanks, James.
You know what you're doing this weekend. Helping Jeremiah move.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender, I think, is a fantastic actor. And I think he'll do this movie justice.
Think so?
Honestly. So, yeah, I do. That's honestly the only reason I'm excited about seeing it, because I could care less that it's a movie. But putting him in the role, I mean, he did fantastic in X-Men. He did fantastic in Prometheus.
That's true.
So I'm excited about it.
And you know,
for him,
coming off the tail end of, you've got the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the commercial success of the Hobbits, the Hobbit movies, and then of course, you know,
that's one form of success.
Yeah, let's just not talk about, you know, creative success for those. And then, you know, the fantastic Game of Thrones series being absolutely huge in popularity now. There's definitely more of a market for, you know, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of medieval stuff going on. It's a good time for this movie, I think, and I'm hoping that will allow them to put the kind of money that it needs to do well and to be produced well into it ahead of time.
Yeah, there's a lot of video game movies on the horizon. Now, if any of them actually happen, some of them have been greenlit but haven't actually started production. But if even half of them happen, this is the only one that I think, one of the very few that I think has a good chance of actually being decent.
There's actually a Witcher movie, a live action movie. I think it's still like in the pre-production, like they're trying to find a director and finalize the script and all. But the rumor is it's going to cover some of the initial short stories from the books, which I think would actually translate really, really well into a movie. Being totally like, you know, unrelated to the game. There's so much great content from the books, but there's actually a Polish Witcher television series that, oh, dude, it was so low budget. Like it was. I mean,
that's what I'm so fearful for the Witcher movie.
It was so low budget.
You have to be somewhat like, I know you're probably excited to see more lore.
I'm apprehensive,
but you have to be a little scared.
I'm very apprehensive actually, because there can't be any middle ground. They have to keep it dark. Keep the characters have to be true to how they were in the book. It has to be dark, and they can't lowball it for the budget. Like, just go ahead, give it the Game of Thrones treatment, and people, I think, would embrace that. But yeah, I'm
worried about it looking like a fan film.
Exactly.
I'm worried. Yeah, I mean, Geralt, are they focusing on Geralt?
Yeah, and it will focus on Geralt's original stories. Like there's one, The Last Wish, which is how Geralt and Yennefer met, which would make it an excellent movie. I mean, just that whole short story would be a fantastic one. So it would take place like 14, 15 years before the book, or before the games, I think.
For me, if they don't get the right actor in that role, like, just forget it. Because that's the bad thing. It's one thing to go from, say, a comic book or a book to the film. I mean, you're still going to have people that are, you know, fussing because, oh, I didn't picture it like this. This is not who I pictured. Of course. So-and-so.
This is the internet after all, James.
But since we've already got media that has a talking Geralt, that has you get to feel his personality fleshed out.
Yeah.
If they don't capture that on film, then you're going to have a lot of upset fans. And so they're going to have to really work on finding someone to get the voice right more than anything. I think even more important than the look is going to be the voice, because people have become so accustomed. I mean, you don't, these aren't 5-hour, 7-hour games. These are games where you've put hundreds of hours into all the different games.
Yeah.
And so you've heard that voice quite a bit.
Doug did Geralt's voice for all 3 games, I think. I can't remember his last name, but it's Doug something. So that's a lot of hours of Geralt. And honestly, for the Witcher movie, I can't decide if I want them to embrace CDPR's version of Geralt, or I saw some images from like one of the Russian translations of the book today where it had like a really interesting, like almost high fantasy version of like illustrations of the characters. And it was a really cool like alternative. So I don't know if I want them to just totally steer away from CDPR's vision of the characters or embrace it.
Let's be honest. Which one gave them the fans to make a movie? The books or the award-winning game?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
who's going to fill the seats? The people that read the book, or the people like the mass market of people that played the game?
I think I would be totally fine with them picking the game's vision because, you know, CDPR spent so much work getting that right. Like when I saw Yennefer in game for the first time, I was like, yep, that's her. The voice, the facial expressions, just as I imagined from the books. Perfect.
See, the thing for me that works really well with, like, you know, when you have comic books, you have expectations of how the characters will be.
Oh yeah.
The thing that works for me is, I think animation is such a good avenue for exploring stuff, and you can get it right, you can get it wrong. It's not that big of a gamble. I would be more happy, I think, with a Witcher animated film, because they can do a lot more visually. They can explore more. There's a lot more they could do without making that big gamble. And they could even keep the same voice. But that's my opinion.
Speaking of which, James, you've seen some of the CGI trailers, like the really ridiculous ones, like what was the name of the trailer? The one where he's hunting the vampire, and it was like that just insane CGI where she like turned invisible and all. It was one of the last launch trailers for the game.
I didn't see that.
Ooh, well, I'll link you that after the podcast because it's a short film, basically. It's a 4-minute long short film, and it has some of the most incredible CGI. Like, it's one of those companies where they'll spend, a year on a trailer. There's rumors that the same company that's been doing those trailers for CDPR might be doing some kind of animated Witcher something, like maybe a full length short film, I guess you could call it.
So I like that kind of stuff just because,
yeah.
The sky's the limit for something like that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You're not paying as much for actors, special effects, and locations and stuff. Not that animated films are cheap, but they're not $100 million expensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the Old Republic, the trailers for that were like way better than the game was. I don't know if you saw any of the old Star Wars, the Old Republic trailers.
No,
they were fantastic. We'll watch some after the podcast.
Let's watch trailers together, James, after the podcast.
Yeah, we can do it right now. Let's just spend the next 45 minutes watching trailers, hanging out. We were supposed to, I forgot to mention this. This was titled News and Beards with Dave and James.
That's true.
We were supposed to have coffee.
Oh, here we go.
I had coffee. I had to bring this up. I forgot about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Dave decided to drink his coffee right before the podcast. It's like, I already finished my coffee.
Yeah, so, it didn't feel podcast worthy. I drank it in a plain white mug, and it was reheated coffee from earlier. This was like a little bit burned.
Mine was freshly brewed with my, cinnamon creamer. It was good.
I'm sorry to do this to you, James, but I'm going to have to blow your cover. It was freshly brewed decaf.
It was decaf because it's nighttime and it tastes the same. Well, it's not as... Okay.
You don't love the bitter taste of caffeine? Yeah, I actually got a beard trim today, and he took off a little bit more than I was hoping for, but it was starting to get uneven. So I think, James, at this point, now that I've got like an even starting position and I kind of know the direction I want to go, I think I'm going to go on and go for like a full, like smallish operator beard. Like not like,
interesting,
not mountain man, but I kind of want to shape it a little bit. I'm thinking operator beard. Because I was liking where it was going for the trim. I think if I can keep it even this time, like plan ahead.
You got the suppressor. You might as well go with the beard now.
And I may have. Oh, see if I can reach it just over here. Oh.
He's going uphill, everybody.
Whoa.
Slide back down. Whoa.
I'm crossing that line. This came in today. I got a little bit of a, what does this say? Oh, is that a hat? An
Ooh.
operator hat with a patch spot on it? Oh my!
It just broke.
That's the final stage right there, James, for becoming one of those irritating people at the gun range is when you buy a hat with a patch spot on it. You know what's next? I gotta have the "Don't tread on me" patch right in the center.
You gotta put that. You gotta drape that across your back window of your car. You need a pickup truck too.
Oh, yeah.
So
Come on, James. All true operators drive Honda Civics.
did you see that the Jeep pickup that I sent you?
I did, and actually,
I don't know how I feel about it. It looks kind of. It's kind of rugged looking for a pickup truck.
I'm going back and forth on it. I'm not sold on that thing yet.
Yeah,
because I feel like I'd be more of like an SUV kind of person. Like I miss my SUV actually. I mean,
I'm surprised you don't have one.
It was a Nissan Pathfinder. It was like from the mid '90s, so it wasn't like, totally modern SUV. But I did like it a lot. Except for putting gas into it. Mid '90s.
Although gas is going down again.
At the time that I bought my Honda, gas prices were like almost at that peak. 2008. Yeah, it was
almost $4.
Yeah, it was nasty. I've had fill-ups for the Civic in the last month that were like $11 for the tank. Like every 3 weeks. It's insane. Yeah.
And I mean, you might as well get anything you want now if you're going to be spending so much time remotely. So I had a few news items tonight. The first one was there's a high school in Norway that is now offering esports as part of their elective curriculum.
What?
So I mean, this is apparently becoming a thing. I think Sweden also has it, but they've got a computer lab that has computers with 980 Ti's in it, which is pretty good for a school. Imagine American school would have like 950s.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's only the best card out there.
I mean, the fact that they're doing it right, I think it's pretty cool. And looking at esports, I imagine, 100 years ago, you wouldn't have looked at sports as this is going to be one of the main predominant entertainment moneymakers, and now, people are making hundreds of millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
Not saying esports will ever get there, but I think you could get enough to make lots of careers out of it. Granted, I hope they're getting their good education.
Yeah.
And doing physical education because that's good because they probably need it.
I think this is pretty cool to see them embracing it because I don't know if you got this, James, when you were growing up, but I always got the you're spending too much time on those computers. Like that's a leisure activity. Like you get your 2 hours a day or whatever, and it's my career. Like it's even if you're not playing games,
you'll never amount to anything with that. What?
Even if you're playing games or if you're not playing games as your career, the stuff you learn in that class is probably some good stuff. Like you're going to get familiar with how a computer works, and it's all going to be pretty useful knowledge. And
well, not just that. I mean, you're learning team dynamics. You're learning strategies and stuff like that. You're also probably building up a social network of people from different countries, which a lot of classrooms now are embracing technology. I know in my area, it's a really, really big push to get technology in every classroom. Whether kids bring their own devices or they're offering, tablets and stuff in school, very well locked down. But that's the world we work in. That's the world we live in. That's far beyond what it's going to be, in the future. Yeah. So
embrace it now.
It's time we start embracing it as a culture,
and not telling the kids that get outside and play with the kickball.
Not that they shouldn't get outside and play with the kickball.
Right. But there's
physical good. It's all about balance. If you can get a good balance in your kid, that's
there's value.
I'm sounding like both. Papa James. I'm living up to the name tonight.
Thanks, Dad.
Speaking of episodic failures, one of the main writers of Half-Life is retiring, and don't know what that means for the series. Maybe he actually finished his pinnacle and he's done. He's walking away now. He's completed his whatever. but it's probably more likely he's not doing much right now. Like he's not being, using those skills.
Yeah.
And Half-Life probably just isn't being worked on that much. Which is sad.
I think he mentioned like he was ready to move on to some of his like long-term, like just traditional writing projects that he's kind of had in the back burner while working at Valve, which I mean, that's
while not writing.
Yeah, he's like, man, I should use all that time
writing game descriptions.
Yeah. Oh, dude, what if that's been his
writing
job?
Technical manuals.
Since 2007, he's been like writing Steam game descriptions, like for the store. Like, oh.
I mean, somebody's got to write all those updates.
Oh.
I mean, they update like every other day. Someone's got to write the patch notes.
I would bet though that this means nothing for Half-Life 3. Like, I don't think this has any relation to whether it's going to ever come out or not come out. I think if it's going to come out, the story's already, outlined, it's in place, and it's like a technical or production issue that's holding the game back. Like they're changing engines or something like that. I don't think the story would be what's holding Half-Life 3 back. What do you think?
It's a bingo board at this point for me. I mean, we could do what's holding Half-Life back.
It's a whole new
It could be any
podcast.
number of things. It doesn't matter. It's not out.
Hey, James, do you remember when we started this podcast in 2012 and Joel had a Half-Life 3 watch for like a year before he just very quietly stopped?
Yeah, trust me, I remember because every time VGA Awards would come around, now done by Spike, I'd be like, I would purposely send him all of the internet rumors
You're
that
cruel.
would like lead up to and get his hopes up so I could like collect his salty tears in a bucket and splash them on my face like cologne in the morning. Bring me a day of happiness.
Joel's Half-Life salty tears.
The next news item I had was Xbox Live has been down again. Surprise, surprise. But this time it actually got I clicked the wrong article. It actually got the recognition of Snoop Dogg. And you don't want to mess with Snoop Dogg. Yeah, he apparently I won't use the word, but basically told Bill Gates to get his stuff straight.
Yeah.
Because Bill Gates is number one working at Microsoft still.
Yeah, he's been gone for...
He's in the Xbox division. But it's funny that it caught national attention because, outages are quite frequent with the consoles, unfortunately. Especially lately.
Yeah.
People are just douche canoes.
Yeah, it's a combination I think of, heavy traffic. They don't want to scale too far over what's actually needed. You're just wasting money on infrastructure. And then you've of course got all the kids with their mom's credit cards DDoSing. And I was happy to see that almost all the services were able to stay up over this Christmas compared to 2014. I don't know if you heard, James, but that caching error on the Steam store on Christmas Day, where the caching server was delivering partial information from other people's accounts to your Steam client. That was because they deployed a change to that server and it wasn't able to propagate correctly because the Steam store was getting DDoSed at the time. So it was partially a DDoS that helped to create that issue.
Now they came out and said it wasn't being DDoSed.
The follow-up, I guess it was like a week later, they said, it wasn't Steam itself, all their functionality was live, it was the store was being DDoSed, and that's why there was a caching issue from that new server.
And of course, PSN has also gone down recently.
Dude, PSN it feels like a house of cards. I don't know what it is, man. I just have personal experience with it. It just always seems so shaky. It might just be the impression that the voice chat gives. I was complaining to Joel. I'm like, every time that you go into any menu while you're in a party, the voice scratches and crunches and collapses as the PS4 tries to scroll through a menu, and it seems like the whole thing's just gonna fall apart. It's terrible.
Well, luckily they are giving. I don't think they've announced how long, but they are giving PS Plus extensions because of the outage. So if you, Dave, did not actually really notice that it went down, you're still going to get that extension. Yay.
Nope, didn't notice.
Next news item. The DICE Awards are here, and surprise, surprise, Witcher 3 got nominated for 8 different awards.
That's
including Game of the
Man.
Year and many others. Rise of the Tomb Raider actually did really well too. Fallout got, I think, 5. But I'm actually, it's amazing that a game that started out kind of as when I first played Witcher, I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
I only heard about it because of you guys.
yeah.
And so that's why I played Witcher 1.
I mean, their first game, they licensed someone else's engine and retooled this simple little RPG. Basically, it was very indie. Basically,
It was fun, but it looked like dirt. I mean, now it's winning awards for all kinds of different stuff, including, I think art design and stuff.
and for those that aren't familiar, the DICE Awards are like probably the biggest like industry awards for games. Like,
whoa.
what?
We just had our awards.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second biggest.
Man.
It's the second biggest.
There I go, selling us short again. I apologize to my co-host, to my family, to myself.
Most of all, I want to apologize to God.
Being nominated for a DICE award, that's basically like all your peers saying like you done good. It's pretty
Yeah, I mean, it's
awesome.
Oscars and Emmys. It's
It's a big
it's what
deal.
you want. Next news item: $46 million have been raised by Kickstarter for video games in 2015. That's a crap load of money.
Yeah, it is.
The biggest one for that was Shenmue, which we saw shoot up like crazy immediately following the announcement at E3.
Thank you, E3 stage.
$6.3 million for Shenmue,
Not bad.
which isn't the biggest ever, but it was the biggest last year.
Yeah.
And there was a broader, I think it was like 107 million of just gaming in general, I guess, including board games and stuff. And my last news item.
Are we doing this, James? This is
We're
happening.
doing this. Payday 2 and Goat Simulator are having crossovers. Yay!
Finally, it's what I've been waiting for.
Seriously, we've been asking for this for years.
Begging.
Before Payday 2, but when
Begging.
Payday 2 and Payday 1 was out, we were like, where's the crossover?
Where's the goats, guys? We got the guns, we got the banks, we got the vaults. Where's the goats?
And you know what? They heard our voices, and we are getting Goat Simulator, the Payday 2 heist, and we're also getting a Goat Simulator Payday 2 version. DLC, whatever they want to call it.
The really exciting part for me, James, is that, for the Payday 2 DLC, not only are we getting goats, but we're getting goats full of cocaine. So it's like a bonus. I mean, dude, you go to the Payday 2 DLC page, it looks like one of those model train games. It is insane. They could, I told you this earlier, like they could hand me all this DLC for free and I'd be like, that's a lot to scroll through. Like it's just for a new player or for a player that hasn't played in a while, that's pretty overwhelming. I mean, it's so segmented and just fractured and
So that's why they sell season passes, so you don't have to go through all the DLC.
yeah.
Just let it auto download in the background and never have to look through the list and see which ones you want.
And then of course you still have the issue, which, a lot of people I'm looking at the trailer here on YouTube and the comments, the top comment is just stop in all caps. Besides just the bombardment of DLC, there's still all the outrage over their weapon skin system and accusations of pay to win, and that's still a cloud hanging over them, that they went from being kind of a bit of an indie, not necessarily like a hero developer, but they were pretty well liked by their community, to now their community is at least half still outraged. They haven't changed basically anything to go back on that system, and people still aren't happy. So this is just like, they're just like off in their own little bubble, like ignoring everything. Just time to do more crossovers, guys.
Would you say they created a scapegoat?
Well, guys, that's been the podcast. Thank you for coming out tonight, James. We need to talk. Oh man, that was a dad joke. That was a very dad joke.
Okay, well, I had at least 10 seconds to think about it while you were talking. So, so that is it for the news. And do we have any mail? Do we have any mail from any repeated writers?
I'm looking here, and I'm not seeing any mail. I'm pretty.
Why don't people write in?
I'm pretty sure that we actually we do have mail, but I decided not to just prep it for this episode. I figured we've got enough on our plates. Just putting the podcast on our shoulders that we're gonna hold off on mail time for this week.
We got one email to read.
Do we?
It's a pretty long one.
Oh boy.
Now you're making me open it.
Well, I guess if we're gonna do mail time, I better open some mail.
Just one.
Uno mail?
Uno mas.
Reminds me of my Rocket League days.
You have it open by any chance?
I do have the email open, as in the inbox. Now, which email? We have to use code words here.
The one we always read.
Okay, let me double check to make sure that we don't have anything doubled up. You know, even though I wasn't planning on doing mail time, I think James is right on this one. We gotta stick to tradition, I suppose.
We gotta show that the boat can stay afloat when it's just two of us.
That's true. I see it, James.
You gonna read it?
We have an email from a fan, from a real life fan that wrote into our show, which you guys can do if you just write to casualshenanigans@gmail.com or go to casualshenanigans.com and fill out our fancy web form.
If you just open the browser and get angry at us, you can write to us too.
We have new mail from a weird stranger. And this is labeled, it's labeled super long email inside. So what I'm going to do, you've got your coffee. I'm going to get like a giant chug of water here, like fill the lungs and just get ready for this. Here we go.
Do you need to warm up your voice at all?
That's what news time is for. This whole podcast. Let's just get ready for this email. From a weird stranger. Hey, Shenana peeps. I am anxiously awaiting the results from Joel's poll, which is followed by a butchering and of grammar here. And it's just like a giant line of periods. I'm counting like 14. Not acceptable. Where's your email etiquette, a weird stranger? Are you kidding me right now? And then it's signed, a weird stranger. But wait, there is a PS for this super long email. A special thanks to Joel for looking up ding-dongs on the internet instead of just laughing at me and making fun of me like James and Dave. The puck on snow day in Rocket League reminds me of the delicious hostess ding-dongs. I think I gave a polite laugh during all this ding-dong talk. But that has got to be one of the worst names for any kind of dessert.
Got me a 6-pack of ding-dongs.
Yeah,
yay.
man, it's been a long day. I can't wait to get my mouth around some ding-dongs. You know what really set me straight? Ding-dongs. I love
my Skype is freezing.
Oh, the box is like a giant logo that says the sweetest comeback in the history of ever. Chocolate cake with creamy fillings. Oh man, thank you, hostess, for that delicious treat. And a weird stranger, thank you for once again gracing our inboxes with your presence and your ding-dongs.
But to let you know, people have actually been writing in. We're going to give them a little bit more time.
Yes.
We're going to make sure Joel is on the podcast.
Yes.
And we're all going to read through them. And we're all going to see if Joel's poll is correct or not. I feel like that phrase should catch on. Joel's poll.
This week on Joel's polls, he harasses more random people on the street. You like Apple? So James, that brings us to what we're playing this week. What are you playing this week?
I've been taking a little bit of a break just because just been busy.
There's a lot of games over the holidays too. Like we were playing just tons of stuff over the holidays.
Yeah, I feel like I got a good amount of playing in then, so I don't feel as bad not being leisurely. I played a little bit of Fallout. I have been progressing through the story to the point where I had to stop playing to just start doing side quests
Oh,
because I don't want to like go so far to where I start pissing off fractions. You'll get there.
are you at a branching point, James? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm at a branching point.
I think I'm pretty far behind you still. I'm just now leaving the glowing sea for the first time. So,
I mean, have you seen any really big new areas, like just completely different than anything else you've seen in the game?
nope, just the glowing sea.
All right, so you're not there yet. So yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and try to do everybody's quests just to make sure I don't miss out on anything.
Nice.
Because nothing's more fun than running into an area and everybody starts shooting you because you didn't pick their faction.
Okay, I gotta pick on John here for a second. Dr. J, I got him into the original Stalker a little bit, right? And Stalker is an open world kind of horror survival shooter. It's got factions, right? Well, John didn't realize, playing Stalker for the first time, that there's parts of the game where there's even like enemies like bandits where you can kind of choose if you're going to engage them. It's kind of like an open world faction system where like they fight for territory and stuff. So he, being John, being Dr. J, was just shooting everybody. So he would get to areas and the neutral factions, the goody two-shoe factions, the bandit factions, like the kind of like wild card factions, every faction in the game, I think even the scientists and the military, like all 7 factions in the game would shoot him on sight. He's like, yeah, I can't find enough ammo to keep killing all these people. He's like, everywhere I go, I fight like waves of enemies. I'm like, how?
What game are you playing?
Yeah, like for me, like I had to have him like walk me through where he had gone. He's like, he got to a new area and he like just came in like firing from the hip. And I was like, oh no, you're supposed to talk to those people and like go into the trading area. He's like, no, I shot my way in. I was like, oh.
You officially have no quest in the game now.
He basically skipped a huge chunk of the game just by running and gunning. It was amazing. I love that games do that though. Like where you had that option. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I blew a few quests in Fallout New Vegas, just exploring, going into the prison, somewhere in the desert. And I started fighting the powder gangers. And all of a sudden I got the message, quest failed. I'm like, what?
Oh. Does that bother you, James? Does that like hurt you inside?
I still hurt.
Content missed.
It's a thing. It's real. Did we play Rocket League last weekend? I feel like we played a little bit of Rocket League.
We played one night of Rocket League in the last week for sure. At least one night.
That's a shame. I've not played that much. It's got to happen.
We might have played last night. Snow Day is still live.
I wasn't feeling well. I was going to take a risk of not feeling well playing the game.
Were you not feeling well? Playing Rocket League late at night is probably one of the worst things you can do, just in general.
I mean, I've noticed that after I play Rocket League, it takes me longer to fall asleep than like watching a movie or doing anything else, just because, the adrenaline goes up. The curse words come out. The joy, the sweat, the blood, the tears.
The shenanigans grunting.
Yeah. You gotta rest the diaphragm a little bit because it's been grunting.
Oh, Grunt League.
And I played a little bit of Dying Light this week. So that's it.
You enjoying Dying Light so far?
So far.
So far?
I don't know if I don't know if it's gonna be my thing.
Not really hooking you?
Yeah. Did you play it?
That was actually on my list last week of games that I forgot came out last year. It's been so busy. I think I'm going to get like a Game of the Year edition and I'll, like maybe this summer or this fall. We'll see.
I mean, you could try it on the PS4 if you want to borrow a disc. I know that's like, I can see like the half, that sounds a good idea. I'm going to cringe a little bit.
Yeah. I think Dying Light, that'll be a game that I'll probably want to crank up. Like, yeah, I'm playing Gone Home. On
although it is a co-op, Joel and I both own it already.
Oh, okay, so that might change my decision. I mean, I couldn't borrow the disc.
I mean, that might change how I like the game too.
Okay, I'll watch for a sale.
The intro was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then I got out to the world. I was like, it's just running around avoiding zombies, but it's a lot of zombies. Like it's a crap ton of zombies.
Bring friends, right?
Yep, bring friends. Definitely bring friends. What have you been playing? Besides Rocket League and
without
Battlefront, without me.
Did we message you for Battlefront? I think it was late.
Yeah, I was on.
Oh.
This is awkward. Awkward airspace.
Just cut the camera off. Shut it down. Yeah, we played a bit of Battlefront, a bit of Rocket League, and Fallout. I've been working on the main quest, like I said, because I realized that there's some areas I can unlock only from doing the main story. And also, I am enjoying the main story more now. Like, it just really did not hook me in the beginning. It's finally got some momentum, and I think that, wow, total mind blank. The detective that you meet in Diamond City,
Nick Valentine.
yeah, he's I think the best voice acting in the whole game is his voice acting. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great character.
He's a really enjoyable character. And of course, I've been crafting like crazy in Fallout 2. I've got a system now, James, where I go and I like do a side quest, do a main quest. I come back with all my loot and I sell it, and I get more caps to buy. Like, at this point, I'm going through so much supplies. I'm selling weapons and armor that I find to get caps to just buy supplies directly from the traders. And I'll get like a fast travel route.
You buying the shipments?
Yeah, dude, I buy every shipment of wood on the map. There's only 4. I know where they all are. So I'll go sell all my stuff for caps, 100 wood, and then 50, and then 50 back to Sanctuary, dump it into the workshop, and then continue on. I can do it in, like, even with the load times, like 4 minutes now. I've got the routes down. I've gone back to Witcher open worldness again, and I'm having so much fun. Like, I really enjoyed. I've recorded an entire Let's Play of Hearts of Stone. It was such a fantastic, storyline. It was incredible. Better writing than the end of the main campaign. I'd say, James, when you get to that point where you're ready for more Witcher, don't miss out on the DLC. But now that
I've already bought it.
Oh,
so
well, there you go.
Hopefully, I won't miss it. I got this little Gwent set right here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You got the whole set with that.
I got $10 for the DLC and the cards.
Isn't that just amazing? That's like old school gaming stuff right there. Like a box, a manual, like bonus items, the code. It's good stuff. But
well, except when you said the code. Back in the day, they didn't have codes. When I say old school gaming,
well, you had your disc. I'm thinking like the Red Alert 2 collector's box. You go through all the manuals, and you have that last page of the manual, like the backside, printed in black and white with like the dot matrix printer, like serial code for the game on the back of the manual. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, now that I'm done with my recordings for Hearts of Stone, it's been so much fun just to go back to free roam and Witcher. And Joel's been talking about like he's really enjoying now that he's past the main quest and past the DLC, just traveling, as Jeremiah calls it, the path, capitalized. It's so much fun. You can really just get into enjoying the world as you just totally decide where you want to go and like which people you want to help, and it's been so much fun. But yeah, it's more Witcher, just free roam, and I'm trying to think.
I like when it gets to free roaming games just because you don't feel pressure. You get to explore and just go. I mean, that's what I like about those type of games, is just being able to go and find what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would like to do. I would just love to hop in a car and just drive somewhere and explore somewhere new in life. So doing that in games is the cheaper way to do it, because not spending gas and having to stay in hotels and stuff.
Especially in Witcher, where the main campaign, like, I was really compelled to find the people I was looking for and to keep going to the conclusion. Like, I was definitely totally immersed, as you do. Trying to think though, I've actually been pretty I don't know, like, I kind of got some blinders on for games this
You played
week.
Arma too, by the way.
Oh my gosh, how can I forget about that? We released a new Arma mod pack and had a fantastic mission last night. My favorite moment was I was in admin mode, just adding a few tweaks to the mission.
That's always your favorite time, in admin mode.
And the purpose, James, was I was just going to add a few more random elements, like as we were moving through like this like jungle, like shanty town, right? I added a suicide bomber, and it has like some dialogues where you add it. It's a really cool mod system that we have, these fantastic admin tools where you just hit drop downs and pick your options. And I'm like, okay, yeah, suicide bomber, like explosion, like very small. So like maybe kill like a person or two if you don't catch them. And there's other civilians running around. I made the suicide bomber look like one of the civilians. So the idea is he'll kind of like follow our guys as we're moving through the town, like looking suspicious.
That sucks.
It's really,
that sucks.
It's creepy. But my plan was like not to be one of those annoying admins where I'm like, I am in God mode and I'm killing you guys because I can. Like, I want it to be kind of fair, right? Well, as it turns out, the admin mod and Dave have two different ideas of what a small explosion is. Steven was leading the mission. We're in the middle of this shanty town, right? He's got us like lined up in a little area. We're kind of clustered, maybe a 50 square feet area. We're talking about which vehicles we're going to take to go to the next town. Out of nowhere, we hear someone yell, "Death to America!" And then a walled compound next to the street, the wall goes, "Foomph," and an explosion just goes across the street. It killed all 9 of us. Every single last one of us dead. I lost it laughing. I'm just like, we're just going to edit around that. I'm like, that is not a small explosion. Dude, he detonated
bunker buster.
He was like,
Strapped to his chest.
yeah, it was like one of those like Vietnam like daisy cutter bombs that like they used to clear the jungle out. It was like one of those. I was like, what on earth? Small explosion. We've definitely got the Arma like mod update process down. We have an FTP server that delivers the mods to your computer. Everyone jumped in, no problems, and we had a blast last night. It was a lot of fun.
Good. The one thing in playing Arma is you look at the civilians. You have to, usually scope to look at them. It's like, the civilian, avoid them.
Yeah.
But if you're putting bombs on them now, you evil man.
I wish one of my recordings from last night failed, and so I didn't catch it from my perspective. But there was an amazing moment later on where, because of that fear that I had instilled in everyone for civilians, like we were going around and we were zip tying them as they would run up, like hold them at gunpoint, zip tied. Another point that we were going up a hill, right, and a technical pulled up, 50 cal in the back, firing away. Everyone's panicking. We're shooting at the technical. I dive to cover and look, and a civilian who is pulled over in a car on the side of the road like gets out to just run away from all this crossfire. And as he's running away from the gunfight, I lean over and I look at him, and I see the line of tracers from at least 2 people on our team in the back shooting the technical. The civilian starts running, and I see the 2 lines of tracers just like turn. Dude, rip through the poor guy. He just like goes all bloody and just like face plants face down into the ground. I was like, oh, bad place to be. Like, we weren't messing around at that point. Like, poor guy. Oh, man. I love that tension, though. It's always more fun when the mission has civilians, like, to add that extra layer.
Or raptors. Either way, tension's there.
Never forget.
So, that's the show this week. You can leave now. We're done.
Yeah. Bye.
You can also write into the podcast at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can write us on Twitter at casualshenanigans.
That's right.
You can visit our website at casualshenanigans.com, and you can find all the videos there. You can send us emails through that if you want to. You can read our profiles, do all kinds of crazy stuff. Find us on Facebook. We don't really have that many Facebook followers.
We'll get there, though.
We don't also have that much content, so kind of matches the amount of time we put into it and the amount of people that are seeing it. So get those numbers up, and we'll put time into it.
You guys can find the personal channels of myself and Jeremiah over at youtube.com/germgaming and youtube.com/evilviking13. Jeremiah's current content is he has the latest potato masher video, which is Battlefront.
Potato masher time.
There it is. So if you guys missed out on Battlefront on the potato masher, you can go check that out, along with some fantastic GTA Online shenanigans. Over on my channel, I actually have the latest Alistar Rebellion armor mission, the full edit. It was insane. It was like a 55-minute mission. It was intense.
When are we going to see some Rocket League shenanigans, Dave?
I think it's going to happen. I wasn't planning on doing any, but I have too much good footage to use to not use. Like, it's just it's so good. And if you guys have somehow missed out on my obsession with Fallout 4 settlement crafting, I've been giving Joel personalized tours of my settlements that bring my frame rate from 60 to like 28. I was trying to do the math, James. I think for Sanctuary, I went, I'm going to say like between 1600 and 1800% over Bethesda's limit. Like, and Sanctuary is one of the biggest, like highest memory limits too for the settlement. It was insane, but you guys can find those over on my channel.
There's a few places you studied. We need to go look at your map and make sure you've seen some of the cool places you can build. Because there's one place that you need to build that's pretty darn cool, and I think you'll enjoy building.
Is it the island?
No. It's a little. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay. Yeah, that's the show, guys. This has been News and Beards with Dave and James,
and a little bit of coffee.
Yeah, a little bit of Leftover
Decaf.
coffee. Yeah, yours is decaf. Mine's leftover. We're just
failing
We suck
tonight.
at coffee, James. We gotta make up for this. At some point, we're gonna do a beard podcast where we've got like a real fireplace going, and we're rolling it. We're gonna do it.
Now, Debbie just got the French. She got the French press thing.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think she'll be making us coffee for that.
Yeah.
We'll do it in front of the fireplace and
Yeah.
have our smoking jackets on.
It's like our GTA characters now.
Anyway, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll have a full crew.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Jeremiah will be up and running in his office.
Oh,
So,
he'll have a different backdrop next time, guys. So you
a
guys
different shade of white.
Yeah, it's just another blank white wall. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all next time. Until then, what do they do, James?
Stay casual.
As you do.